to the TV and into your eyeballs, brother. What if I just started this video the exact same way as last time? Just so for like 1 full second, people were like, did I click on the, is this the right, just confusion for no reason. Big prankies from Expankies. What's up, everybody? It's time for that yearly update video where I come out and I basically go on about, oh, just real quick, if you don't know what the hell I was just talking about at the beginning there, that means YouTube didn't show you the last video I just put out. It's out, the raddest video games of 2024, where I basically just talk about everything I played that past year that I think was worth showing people, and then I get into my top 10 games of the year. It always tanks every year, like compared to how my videos usually do. Like I show you right here, it's like, I don't know why this always happens. I did put it out at a bad time this year. It took me like a month later because I took a break after making that TAC video, because that TAC video actually did really god dang well. Thank you everybody for showing up for TAC, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But I don't know, I just had to do it. I gotta do it every year, even if it's not really in my interest to do so, which is the dumbest thing in the world. But I get such a good response to it every year. People always tell me that they look forward to seeing that video each year. But I guess it is just such like a handy video, right? It's just this big non-stop blast of a whole bunch of cool and interesting looking games that a lot of people may not have seen. I got people telling me that they didn't know about UFO 50. And I guess it's like, it's so easy for me to think like, oh yeah, everyone knows about UFO 50, but I'm kind of like in the social media circles of people that talk about all the new indie games, anything quirky or weird, and anything kind of lesser on the radar, because I follow the right people, I guess, but not everyone does that. So it's amazing to have just that one time of the year where I can be like, hey guys, huh. So, I don't know. I gotta do it anyway. Thank you everybody for showing up to that one. But yeah, if you missed it and you do want to see that, it's out and you can check it out. But yeah, welcome to the annual update video. Trying to do it a little earlier this year. I got so late into the year last year before I finally did it. I kind of forgot about it. This year, I'm getting into it. I know it's like almost March, but we're getting into it little bit on time. Sorry. Also, sorry for the ads on this video. These update videos every year always do so much better than my raddest games. And it's like a punch to the face. Like, that thing takes so much work. It's like 3 weeks of work to get that one out, 2 days of work to get this one out, and then it's just like, oh my god. But I really want to pay rent, so sorry for ads on this, but you kind of got to do what you got to do. People didn't seem to mind last year. Everyone keeps reassuring me that it's fine, but it just sucks. It just sucks. It just sucks. But it's okay, we're gonna get through it. It's alright. I'm gonna come out here, I'm gonna tell you how I'm doing, how I'm done, what I'm doing, what I'm gonna be doing, and basically my thoughts on my output last year, and telling you what's gonna be going on this year on the channel. Yeah, I guess we'll start with my plans for last year. Let's go over what I put out. So last year, 2024, was my 10th anniversary on YouTube. 2014 is when I first started this channel, back when I was in college. So I really wanted to have at least a handful of really big, chunky, awesome videos about games that I reviewed either very early on in the channel's lifespan or games that we have come to associate with the channel. So of course, that's Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, that's Star Tropics. I mean, you're always looking at these if you're watching one of these videos. And then Yumeniki, you can't even see that one. Boom, a little bit right there, a little just off camera. Why am I messing this up? I had this good. Also planned that I didn't get to do were the Hotel Dusk videos and the LSD Dream Emulator videos. So let's just talk about those first, because people might be wondering what happened to them. Firstly, the Hotel Dusk video, in my brain, what I want that to be is so absurdly ambitious. But my connection to that game is just so... It's gotta be something awesome, right? And like, I know how to make movies. I can make movies. I could make it look like a movie. I have this idea that it's like, I don't know, 2 long-time friends meeting for breakfast, and he's just showing him the DS over the table. So imagine like just a Nitro Rad review, but like all the parts where the camera's looking at me, it goes to a movie. And then there also has to be parts that are rotoscoped, and my wife told me that she can and will do that. It's just gonna take a long, long time. So I have this amazing vision for it in my head, and it's just like, I can't do that this year because I'm trying to do all this other stuff, but that'll be one for down the road. I'm not gonna promise when that's ever going to be, because it'll just happen when it happens to happen. When I can't like buy props and shit. Like when I used to do those April Fool videos, I could just like blow money on like flats and carpet and desks and stuff to put together that set. And now it's like, I can't afford nothing. Live on your own sucks. It's stankin'. But I do want to make that what is in my head, because it's like, I can do that. If I don't, what's the point, right? So that's what the Hotel Dusk video is right now. It's the pre-production stage just made it like something I can't half-ass. So I don't know when that'll ever happen. LSD Dream Emulator, on the other hand, we have been playing through it. Me and my friend Sam, we both played a lot of it in high school, and we have a lot of shared experiences with it together. So we've been playing through it, just hanging out over and over throughout the year. And I want to basically loop the clock. I need to get to 365 days, but it takes so long when you're not on an emulator and you have the fast forward button. We're playing it on real hardware. So that's why the LSD video, well, partially, has been taking so long, because we're just not through the game yet. So that'll be another one that'll just happen whenever it happens. But that's 2 of the planned videos that I didn't do. And I remember in the last update, I was saying I'm not making any promises. I'm not gonna maybe not do all of these. I'm gonna try to do, like, I don't know if I said like try to do like 3 of them, but I did do a number of them. I even did the one that I wasn't fully committed to. It was the Yume Nikki video. The Yume Nikki one was a big maybe, but it just, like, I was so Yume Nikki brained in the moment, and I knew LSD was far off, and I thought, well, it makes sense to do Yume Nikki first because, I don't know, going back to the roots kind of thing. And I found out about LSD Dream Emulator through my experiences playing Yume Nikki and going online and trying to find other games like it. So it made sense to do Yume Nikki first. And the other thing is, like, I kind of got to do what my brain's tuned into doing. And that big one was Tai 3. I was just so Tai 3 brained. There wasn't a remaster out. There wasn't a reason to do it other than my brain really wants to do Tai 3. I've been just dying to do it because, you know, the first time I made a video about Tai 3, it was year 1 YouTube stuff. I'm trying to do what you think you're kind of supposed to, so just make fun of the game and stuff, and, oh, you push the narrative about how the 3rd one was just the terrible one, you know, and then make it a running joke about how I don't like it. I don't know, it's such a fucking YouTube-ass bullshit I was, like, neck deep in back then, and I just wanted to make just a real video about it, just really picking apart everything about it. And I came out of it, like, appreciating that game in a way I never expected to. Still not a good game at all, but it was, like, so neat going back to that. And then, what was the other one? Was Star Tropics. Luckily, I was also very tuned in to doing Star Tropics. That was the one I kind of had to, like, I started to force myself to, because, like, yeah, it has to be out for this date. I'm so bad with that. Like, when I make plans, I'm so bad at committing to them. And Star Tropics was challenging because it's like, it's got to be out for this day. I think it was, like, April 2nd. Because that marks, like, when I put out a video first. It might have been April 1st, I think I actually uploaded my first review. I didn't even mean to do it on April Fool's way back in the day, but I know if I upload on April Fool's, it's just gonna piss people off, and I'm not doing the thing I used to do on April Fool's. But I really tried to make that one feel extra special. Like, that Star Tropics video is the 10th anniversary special, and I kind of poured my heart and soul into it. There are so many individually filmed shots in that video. I was even getting really creative, like when I was trying to describe the experience of playing Final Fantasy 1 as a child, and I can't understand what the game's saying. I actually recorded the game, and then I edited the text in in editing software, and I put it back on the CRT, and I filmed it from the perspective of, I remember I was always sitting on the floor looking up at it, and I wanted to get that across. It's like, I know how to make movies, let's do it. Let's make a movie. I don't know. I was really into making that one. There were parts of that Star Tropics video that were a goddamn nightmare to make. I remember there's a part where I really wanted to get footage of just playing off of the CRT, and it straight up took me an hour and a half to make the NES work again, because the 72-pin connector that in both of my NESs, you can see them both right there. I don't know why, I just kind of was moving stuff around, they both kind of ended up there, but they're shot in both of them. And it took me so long to get the game working again. It was even worse than Adam's Family. If I do NES stuff again, I best be getting a better NES or a better 72-pin connector for those things. Problem with replacing 72-pin connectors in NES is, like, I actually did that back in high school. And it wore down within like a month, and it was just back to the same problem. So if anyone knows like a trusted source where you can get 72-pin connectors, and I know I'm going off topic, but like for real, link me or tell me a website where you can get good, lasting 72-pin connectors for NES, because I do want to do a video about Star Tropics 2 this year. I want to, I don't know if it'll come out or like on time, like, oh, April 2nd again, but this year at some point I do also want to re-review Star Tropics 2, because that game is like neat and cool and fascinating, and it's also not what you wanted from a sequel, but it still ends up kind of being a neat little thing anyway. So I do really want to give that game a much better episode about it as well. But we're getting into what I'm gonna be making, and we're still talking what I made. Overall, I'm pretty happy. Like, I didn't put too much pressure on myself to like, oh, it's gotta be this big explosive year, because like, I'm just, you know, mentally, it's been just like, adult life is so draining and everything sucks, and it's just like, I definitely have some form of like depression or ADHD or something that I still gotta figure out. So it, like, that was the thing. I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself to like think I have to have this amazing year of videos. So what I did do is I did make a handful of really good videos that I feel really good about. Like that Yuminiki video is actually one of my favorite things I made. I just wanted to get across like the experience of getting into that thing more so than just talking about the content in the game. So much as I want to talk about like the feelings and the value we attribute to those things and how it can be exciting, how mundane things can be exciting just because they're hard to find and mysterious, or made mysterious in some sort of way. So I don't know, I really like that Yuminiki video. It's one of my favorite things I've ever made. My favorite video I've ever made though is Blue Stinger. I love that video so much. I love that game. It's just, I think the amount I love a video really boils down to how much I like the source material and how good a job I think I did at getting it across. And if the video's funny, I don't like trying to force jokes in. Like, they have to just happen. Like the Taka chicken fight thing, I know it's not, they're not even chickens. I'm stupid, and I don't know, I can't tell birds apart. That's not even like a deliberate running gag of this channel that I can't tell birds apart. Because it's just, I just don't know much about animals, I guess, and I'm always being corrected, like, that's not a pigeon, James, a cockatiel. I mean, I even put that in a video. Square-Eyed Jack was, you get mad at me for that. I promise you that's not on purpose. I'm just dumb. But it's okay to be dumb. We all know everything. I know a lot about a few things, and that's why I'm a YouTuber. It's okay. One big thing I wanted to do that did not happen was a revisit to the Silent Hill series. I was thinking Silent Hill 2 is getting remade. I gotta make a new video about Silent Hill 2, and I actually wrote a lot about it. But it's like, that's an intimidating thing. So it also went back into the problem of like, okay, here's a deadline, it's the Halloween video, has to be out in this month, but it's like my brain just wasn't in Silent Hill 2 mode, and I got writer's block, and I got just, I don't know, it felt like no matter how many different ways I worded something, it just felt either too pretentious or it's not taking it seriously enough. And I really do want to find that middle ground where I am genuinely getting across, like, why the source material is meaningful, but, like, in a way that just kind of feels like some guy, instead of, like, I'm trying to paint some narrative with it, I guess. I hate videos where I rewatch my old videos and I see, like, oh man, I was pushing a narrative in this. Like, Star Fox Adventures, that video. I just wish I focused on what that game meant to me instead of trying to combat some sort of cultural perception of it, I guess. But that's what I'm trying to get away from the more I make videos. Hopefully I'm doing that. Let me know what you think about that. But I don't know. Oh my god, I guess I keep getting off topic, but I keep thinking of other exciting video ideas to do. But yeah, Silent Hill just didn't work out. And the other thing is that Silent Hill 2 Remake Ramble was also like one of the longest things I ever ended up making, because I just had so much to say about it. And saying it all unscripted into a camera for like 4 hours is a terrible way to make videos, but even if it does end up taking way shorter time, it's so much more monotonous because you're like rewatching hours of you talking aimlessly, just going off of your notes, and you're trying to find all the good takes. My camera battery just died. Excellent. But yeah, that guy ended up taking way longer than it should have. I mean, the whole point of it being a ramble was so it wouldn't take as long to make, and it ended up taking super long to make because I just had too much to say about it. Hope that was a decent video. I don't always feel good about the rambles. I feel so unorganized. I've had people tell me they can't tell the difference between Nitro Rad and Nitro Ramble, which I don't know whether defined as a compliment or an insult, because it's like, oh, you think my worst videos are as good as my good videos, or is it you think my good videos are as good as my bad videos? I don't know. Read it either way, whichever makes you feel better, but a lot of brains are like, read it the way that makes you feel worse. Do it, James. Feel terrible. And then that's, you know, that's anxiety brain for you. I'm getting better at recognizing those feelings, though. I feel like I'm getting into, again, these videos are so not organized. I'm getting into how I've been doing, but we're still talking about what I've done. Well, yeah, long story short, the Silent Hill 2 video just didn't work out. I was in way more Silent Hill 1 brain mode, because that actually is my favorite Silent Hill game. And if I was making a video about Silent Hill 1 instead of 2, you know, despite this idea, like, let's start with 2, because that's its own thing, and the remake, and this and that, I had such a dumb plan. It wasn't a dumb plan, it was a good plan, I just couldn't do it. I should have started with 1. because I played 1 3 times this past Halloween, just for fun, just on my Steam Deck, wasn't even recording it. But Silent Hill 2, I struggled just to get through 1 playthrough, and I wonder if it's just because with making that Silent Hill 2 remake video, Silent Hill 2, the idea of it started to feel really exhausting or overwhelming to me. I do want to make new videos about the whole Silent Hill series, 1 through 4. I don't know if I'll redo videos about the next 4 post-Team Silent ones, like Shattered Memories and Downpour and all that. I don't know if I'll revisit those ones. But I'm thinking, instead of just saving it for Halloween, why don't I just start some year and just do all of them? Because again, my brain goes in hyperfixation mode is when I'm working best. I remember when I was making nothing but Frogger videos. It's because I like getting in one track lane mode, and that's all I gotta worry about, and it's just like financial security. All of these videos will do well, so that's, again, I'm getting into my plans for next year. That's what I'm doing with TAC this year. We'll get into that. Stay on topic. I literally have notes, and I keep trailing away from them. But, yeah, so I'm still pretty happy with what I put out this past year. I also started doing Nitro Rambles. Let's talk about that, because I'm talking a little bit about that. How do you guys feel about the Nitro Rambles? Because in a year where I was doing nothing but big videos, all the videos are taking way longer to make than usual. I mean, again, that Yumaniki video was the longest Nitro Rad video. It was an hour, like, what, 20 minutes or something. And it took forever to get through. Like, think about, like, all of the B-roll I gotta put in, like, I like doing, like, custom, like, camera shots when I'm talking about a whole lot of things, and some fancy editing in there, too. It, takes a long time. So, my kind of solution this past year to keep getting stuff out so I can pay rent each month was doing Nitro Rambles, and those were really scattershot with performance. Sometimes they would do really well, other times they wouldn't. It really depended on the game I was reviewing. Unfortunately, some Rambles, like the one for Judoro, really didn't do very well, but then other ones, like Another Crab's Treasure and Crow Country, did really well. I think Rambles are also a good way to quickly do an indie video without like dedicating as much time to it, because maybe if I'm just... Okay, so like when I'm reviewing like an indie game, my purpose of it, since it's a new game, is really to show it to people so you can experience it. But my goal with an older game is to kind of like, well, here's an old thing you may or may not play, so let's just show you the whole thing. So I think Rambles are better suited for like newer games when I'm just trying to get across like what makes it worth playing. Yeah, hopefully those have been fine. I'm probably going to keep doing them. Again, the response to them so far has been rather good, and it's just a nice way to make a quick video about something new without taking too much time away from the other videos I do want to focus on. Another thing I like about Rambles, even though this is very antithetical to the entire reason I do them to begin with, but I just like making stuff. Since I'm doing so much less time on the rest of the video, I get a lot of time besides to kind of stick together a wicked cool intro. So like for some of these, I've tried to put a lot of work into a really cool looking visual to open up on. That's been a lot of fun. Ramble really started a long time ago when I would make really short videos on neat little indie games I found, like one for like, what was it, like Pony Island? And then one for like Please Don't Touch Anything, or Don't Touch the Button, whatever that indie game was called. Like, I did those a long time ago. Those were all really unscripted videos, but I just uploaded them as just like a Nitro Rad episode. And then I didn't do that again until years later when I reviewed the Callisto Protocol and then Resident Evil 4 remake. And I uploaded those just as Nitro Rad videos, and the response to them was actually rather bad. People were saying there's not enough B-roll, it's on you all the time, the camera, and it's just what you say doesn't feel as organized. And so there are going to be people that want me to know, it's like, no, they're still really good videos, but it was about, like, it kind of felt like a lie. Because when I say a Nitro Rad video, you expect what Nitro Rad videos have been, and then if you just suddenly get this version of one that just has way less B-roll, and I don't know, something about it just felt a little dishonest. So like, I know people are thinking, oh, don't do that, it'll tank your performance. Naming it Nitro Ramble hasn't seemed to really actually influence how the performance of the video does. It's still just about like what the game is dictating like how likely people are to click it. So for me, like, I don't want to trick people. It's about like transparency. Like, I want you to know, okay, this one didn't have a script. If what I say still makes sense and is good, that's fine and whatever, but I want people to know, like, okay, this was one that was made quickly instead of one that had a lot of thought put into it. It's just that transparency I just want, is all. But yeah, I hope that's good. I hope people have been enjoying the Rambles. I hope they've been fine. Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing them, but usually for, like, I don't know, new stuff. But I probably won't do as many this year. I think I do want to focus on just doing all attack videos. Does that mean we're getting into what I'm doing this year? let's wrap up what I did. 3 wicked sick videos for my 10th anniversary that were really long and I'm very proud of. Star Tropics, Tai, and Yumaniki. I did a lot of rambles, which I think are fine, okay, I guess. And then I guess there was a couple of other more well put together videos, some of which were kind of short, some of which not so much. The indie platformers videos are a growing favorite of mine. I really love being able to show a bunch of people indie platformers. I think my single favorite thing about digesting video game design is talking about platforming movesets. And when you talk about a bunch of new indie platformers at once, well, you can do that over and over and over for a video. Volume 2 has my single favorite wall jump of all time from Corn Kid 64 in it, so please check out my thoughts on Corn Kid 64 in that video if you haven't watched it, dude. Play Corn Kid 64. That game's on Switch now. And then at the end of the year, I just completely on impulse did a Tack and the Power Juju video. So this is going back into how my brain seems to operate best on impulse decisions, because like, I guess when you make stuff, it's easiest to like write about something when your brain is more interested in it. And there was literally a moment, like just out of nowhere on my podcast. You saw it in real time, anyone on my Patreon who watches my podcast. The moment I decided, fuck it, attacking the power of Juju, whatever. My videos haven't been doing super great this past year, except a handful put out, yada yada yada. You know what? Break glass in case of emergency, attack the power of Juju. Why? Because my brain is suddenly fixated on it. What is that game? I need to know. I've wondered for a long time, but right now I'm wondering what that is. And I had a blast making the Attack and the Power Juju video. It was just such a fascinating property. There's a lot of really cool things going on in that game that I don't see a lot of games often do well from around that time period. There's still a number of things that make it unique. It had a really fun to use jump, which is better than I can say about a lot of kind of standard platformers back then, where the jump kind of feels very similar to each other. It was a great time, and I made that video so much faster than I was making a lot of videos this past year, but it was just because it was what my brain happened to want. So, yeah, we're doing nothing but Attack the Power Juju this year. I mean, not nothing, but, like when I was doing, like, Jimmy Neutron, usually some videos in between I would put out something. So I might, like, put out a ramble or something in between Attack videos. But, I'm feeling pretty great about Attack the Power Juju. There's so many games to cover. I know these videos will all do well. And it's such a long requested bucket list series. People have been asking me about Attack. Oh, not the mic. People have been asking me about Attack the Power Juju since the day I made this channel, and I was talking about Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Well, since the year I made this channel, I mean. So yeah, long overdue. I'm having a blast doing it. It's weird, wacky, and wild, and I've finished Tack 2 a few days ago. Even played every single of the mini games. I did all the Dinky Games stuff, the mini game mode. Me and my wife played all those together. Yeah, well, I was just gonna say my thoughts on it, but maybe that's a bit of a spoiler. But Tack 2 is also a fascinating thing that gets a lot of things right, and but without really getting why the first game was the way it was. So it's a weird, neat thing, and I can't wait to start talking about it. I've written a little bit about it so far, but expect Tack 2 sometime in March. Then, of course, there's Tack 3. It's not called Tack 3, it's called Tack the Great Juju Challenge. Do I have that right here? Oh my god, all these games stacked up here. You know those shots? Those camera shots where it's just like in front of the camera? Well, you can tell this happens the day after I film one of those, because it's just like I take one day usually where I just record all the pickup shots that I have like labeled on the timeline. I'm pointing at the camera timeline, or the editing timeline on my computer there. You can't see it. I don't know why I'm pointing at it. But yeah, I film all of those kind of like in one go. And then I just stick all the games there, and I still haven't cleaned them up, so you can tell when the aftermath of that has happened. But anyway, Great Juju Challenge. This is basically Tack 3, so there's gonna be a Tack 2 video, a video about this one. Then there's a weird, like, party game, Rayman Raving Rabbids-ass spin-off, I think it's kind of like that for the Wii, called Tack Mojo Mistake. That also has a DS version. But that'll be one video, and then I'm going to be making a video about all of the portable versions. So there's 2 of them had a DS version, and 3 of them had a Game Boy Advance version. I don't know if I'm going to do a video called Tack GBA Games, and then a video called Tack DS Games. It depends on how long the GBA video gets, and if I feel like, oh, this video is not super long, let's just talk about the DS ones too. But yeah, it'll be just like the Jimmy Neutron Game Boy Advance games or the Frogger Game Boy Advance games. It'll just be me basically showing you all of each game. Yeah. Oh, and I should also, this is another thing I want to do this year, because there's actually one more the Tasmanian Tiger video to make. This year I also, in between TAC videos, I want to do the Tasmanian Tiger Game Boy Advance games. Because those Game Boy Advance games videos always do well. I think I always do a good job of showing basically the entirety of every game in a timely manner. They're usually not very long. Usually you can beat those Game Boy Advance games in like 2 to 4 hours, sometimes even 1. So I do like doing those ones. So I think I'm also going to do a Game Boy Advance games video this year as well at some point. I also really want to do a new video about Vex. This is one of the games I've always wanted to revisit, not out of like being dissatisfied with the original video's intent or anything like that, like with Star Fox, but it's more so because there's more to it. There's more to it. And I also played the worst version of it. The worst looking, the worst running, the longest load times on PS2. Now I have the Xbox original version. It's not here, it's upstairs with my games. But I really want to make a new video about Vex. I just want to 100% it. And I even got this one comment. I don't know the guy's name, forget. But a few weeks ago I got a comment saying like I would love for you to do a new Vex video because I just 100%ed Vex, and apparently it is just bonkers getting 100%. It's like stupid hard. It's just... And the guy was basically saying that is an experience that needs to be turned into a video and shown to people. So it's just like, that is kind of inspiring me even further to pick up Vex again and see it through to the end this time. It was one of the very few games I actually didn't beat. Like when I made that Bubsy 3D video, I'm like, no, I'm gonna be the YouTuber guy to beat it and show the whole thing. And like that was a few years later, and I feel like, you know, the more you play old games and the more you adapt to being able to get a feel for kind of anything, and identifying the brokenness of it or the awkwardness to it, and I kind of like thrive on those games now because I've played so much stuff that almost the stuff that doesn't control as good is more interesting to me, because I know I'm not just going to hold forward and be able to do it my first try. I gotta learn something. So I do think I would be able to beat Vex this time. In fact, I really want to. It's also just a fun game. Like, if you're playing the parts of that game that are good, it's actually a rather fun game. I want to play the Xbox version. I want to show graphical comparisons between the 3 versions because they all look super different. It's one of the very few games of that generation where every version looks super different. So that would be cool. There's just a lot to Vex that I did not cover that I think is worth covering. So I do want to make a brand new video about Vex this year. So look forward to that. Then we're getting to Halloween. I'm not going to try and dump some big responsibility on me. It's like, James, you must make a really good Silent Hill video. One of the smartest written stories ever. Say something smart that's not pretentious. And it's just like, how am I putting this on myself? So this year, I'm going to do something easy, something funny, something goofy, and I'm thinking Ghost Hunter on PS2. Shout out to the homie. I think it's one of my podcast viewers sent that in. I'll get the guy's name and credit him properly when I do the video, but I want to cover Ghost Hunter. Because that's it's just one and done. It's not part of a series, and I can just do it. It'd be a wacky good time. Yeah. I still also want to make videos about both games in the Ecstatica series, which is, imagine like Alone in the Dark, like old PC tank control stuff, but all the characters are made with weird like spheres, like sphere 3D graphics. Really weird and fascinating thing. I watched Red Supre do a commentary on it ages ago, and it's just such a wonderfully silly but also interesting experience. But I think that'll be another year where I'm not overwhelming myself with so many videos in one series. So yeah, some other time we'll be doing Ecstatica, but there's so many horror games down the road. Hopefully this channel is going to exist for decades from now, and hopefully I'm just gonna have so much stuff. There's more Dreamcast games I want to cover too that are horror. I know The Ring is really goofy. I played a little bit of The Ring for the Blue Stinger video on an emulator, and that was just so funny. I really want to get a copy of that. I want to get Carrier as well. There's like something Seven Mansions or something. There is so much goofy horror slop on Dreamcast. Really want to cover that stuff sometime, but I think we'll probably do Ghost Hunter this year, just because it's like people will like mail me like kind of expensive games, and it's like they're just on a shelf for the day I review it, and it's just like, what am I doing with the opportunity I got? I feel like I'm betraying people. They send in games I don't even end up like talking about them. The one guy sent me a copy of a Sheep Raider for PS1, thinking, yeah, I'll make a video about that when I do all those PS1 games, and I didn't. But I popped that thing in. I popped that sucker in to get footage of it when I wanted a clip of Wile E. Coyote. Not Ralph, a fake Looney Tunes fan. Sorry, Ralph Wolf. My friend Alex was grilling me for saying he's a coyote in the video because it's coyote time. I just wanted to illustrate like where the saying coyote time came from. Pop that in for that. But that's another game I do want to review sometime is Sheep Raider. That game's cool, and I love the way it looks. I feel like they nailed like PS1 cell shading, Mega Man Legends. PS1 cell shading is such a good look. I love seeing indie games do that kind of stuff.
Will this man ever stay on topic? I have notes here. Should be reading them.
Oh, iNinja. Thinking maybe iNinja. Maybe I should sprinkle that one into next year. I get a lot of people asking about iNinja. I have played that game. I've played a decent amount of that game. That's a cool game. I think like by today's standards, it does feel really stiff and kind of like, okay, you're doing a bunch of ideas, but you're kind of just doing them the simplest way. But for its time, it was like a really ambitious, cool thing. Billy West voices the main character. I really want to make a video about iNinja. I think I have it here. Do I have it here? I had it here. There it is, iNinja. I don't know why I do this to my nerves. But it's just like, but faster. It's like weighing speed versus the anxiety it's going to instill in me. Not even like, what a fucking iNinja. That was pretty ninja. Remember How to Be Ninja? Anyway. The other thing is I wanted to make a yearly thing out of indie platformers. I did 2 of those. I did the first one and then I did volume 2. I don't know if I'm going to do one of those this year because I think I do need to kind of play it safe, which is a bummer because there's like a lot of good 3D indie platformers coming out. But I I really need to catch up on my credit card because it's like I wasn't really making a ton last year. And, you know, interest rates are fucking dick. And I gotta catch up on that shit. So I really do want to play it safe this year. I know that's disappointing. I hate when finances have to influence what I want to make. In a perfect world, I could just make whatever I want at any point in time. I wouldn't even think about this. But, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles. So I don't know if I'm going to do that video this year. I might make a standalone video on Demon Tides. I know that's a really big indie platformer release coming out this year. I played that quite a while ago for Braz was showing it to me. And that thing is like, when it comes to 3D platformers and the culture surrounding it, that is a significant entry that is doing a really wild design things that we haven't quite seen from the genre. I mean, like, I love Demon Turf, but this thing's elevating that in a lot of ways. But if not next year, I will do eventually a Indie Platformers Volume 3, because it is a good way in catching up with a lot of the indie platformers that I've been following and have been seeing released. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. We are in a golden age of 3D platformers. It's just that they're all independent. So, I got to get them in front of people, so we'll do that at some point, but I might not this year. We'll see. Oh, one more thing on the notes is if that Gex trilogy comes out, I'll definitely be covering that. I don't know if it'll be a full reevaluation of the Gex series, or if it'll just be kind of like a ramble about how that collection is, and does it live up to the standards of like, yeah, if I want to play Gex, all the Gex games on a new platform, is it running it well? Is it accurate? This and that. I mean, I'm always Gex-brained mode. I pop that game up on a Steam Deck. Sometimes the N64 version, sometimes the PS1 versions. There's little differences. I love Gex. I love that little gecko. So maybe that's another thing I would love to redo videos, but I don't also want to do too many redo videos. Like I redid a couple videos last year, and if I'm redoing Vex, then it's like I don't want it the whole be redo. So I might do like a ramble about that collection. But down the road, I think I might make actual new Gex videos. Same with Rayman. I gotta make new Rayman videos. I mean, the best way to play Rayman 1 is that like widescreen PC hack or something. I don't even talk about that back then. I couldn't. It didn't exist yet. So there's way more stuff to talk about, all these games nowadays. But you gotta wait till, like, I don't know, the new versions are out so you can talk about, like, the best way to play them. But yeah, that'll be way down the road. But yeah, just to recap my 2025 plans real quick, it's gonna be a lot of TAC games, Vex game, maybe Thai Game Boy Advance games, and Ghost Hunter. The rest are maybes, but that should be definitive. We'll see what happens. I'll do my best. I can tell you that much. Okay, now for mental health part, how I've been doing and how I'm doing now. I think I was a lot happier last year than I was previously. I'm trying not to put as much pressure on myself, trying to be more forgiving on myself. I had my 5th anniversary with my wife this past year. We went out of town. We went to where she went to college years ago. She showed me around town. We went to this wicked good fish and chips place. That was excellent. Really needed that. God, I love her so fucking much. Tori's actually been helping edit some videos this past year. A lot of the rambles and even the TAC video she did a lot of B-roll editing for. The Thai 3 video. Most of the main channel videos she helped do B-roll for. It is still very much my video. You know, I am writing, recording it, I'm playing the game, I'm taking notes and all that stuff. It's just once all of that is together and just the gameplay needs to go, I send it up to her on a little hard drive, and then she helps me once we're in that point. Like, I'm doing it down in my office, and then she'll be up, and then she'll also be doing it as well. And then she'll give me the hard drive, I open it up, and I bring it all in there, and she's been wicked good at it. A lot of times, I'll be going through the B-roll, and, you know, sometimes I'll change certain things out. If it's not quite as, like, okay, no, I was talking about this, actually, you know, sometimes it does happen, and I do, like, go through and check it all. But sometimes she picks wicked good B-roll that I don't know if I would even have been thinking about it that way. So that's also made editing videos this past year a little less stressful, and it really helped me get a lot of things out while also trying to put together those really big videos. So shout out to Tori. I love my wife very much, and I'm very lucky to be with her. I remember getting this one comment last year on the update video saying, I feel so sad after watching these videos. Well, I'm just trying to be honest. I don't want to bullshit people about how I'm doing. Definitely happier this past year. I'm not going to pretend I did what I should and saw the help that I should, and I'm not going to pretend I'm really taking care of myself. You know, I'm just a ADHD boy, don't know how to do the ting, and I put things off until they just never happen. You know, the big first thing is getting glasses. I'm torturing myself not getting glasses. Just one phone call is all I got to do. But by the time I realize, oh, I gotta make that appointment, it's 1 in the morning and I'm at my computer editing a video and nothing's open to call, so yeah. But I have been doing better. I feel like my mood's been better consistently. I've definitely experienced a lot less hopelessness this past year. Pretty ironic considering all the news of the world. don't even talk about that. Sure you're sick of it. I am. Oh, that reminds me. I have fully moved off of Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky now. I actually post quite a bit on Blue Sky. It's funny, like I never ever used my Twitter account. It just felt like, I don't know, the responses to everything I would post just devolved over time. It feels like there's so many people who are in one mode all the time, and it doesn't matter like what conversation you're trying to have. They always gotta do the same type of response every time. It's just like, what are we doing? But I find like the conversation I've been having with my viewers is so much better on Blue Sky. Like people feel like more in tune with like what I want to talk about, like just sharing stuff about video games, my thoughts and opinions, and then people bringing theirs to the table, and like I'm replying to people a lot more. There's no ads. I'm not getting like politics shoved in my face every 2 seconds. I'm not seeing just the most disgusting shit. I'm actually really liking Blue Sky. I'm not saying everyone has to use Blue Sky. I don't fucking give a shit. But if you are on Blue Sky, that's where you're at. That's where I'm at now. And yeah, it's been a lot better. I think that was actually a big thing for my brain, was quitting Twitter entirely. And like every now and then I'll like post like new video on Twitter, but I'm just done using it. It's brought me nothing but frustration, negative emotions. And I cannot use that site anymore. So that's where I'm at now, for better or for worse. Again, I don't know if Blue Sky is gonna last in the same way. I mean, like, remember Hive? I tried to get into Mastodon, and I'm too stupid for it, and I think a lot of people really struggle to get into Mastodon. But out of all of the social media alternatives so far, Blue Sky has been the most promising, and my experiences with it have been pretty great so far. So, yeah. If you want to see me post stuff, it's over there. It's been better for my brain, and I'm sorry, but that's what I gotta do. I gotta do it for me, and I know that's not convenient for everybody, but what can you do? And I guess like what I'm working on at any given moment also really changes how I feel in any moment. Like if my job feels draining, then I'm gonna feel drained all the time. But if my job is something I'm really into at the time, then it's less like that. And I guess just what I've covered this past year really had me in those moods. So I guess that's what I gotta do with Nitro Rad. I gotta stop trying to force myself into the plans, and I just gotta make whatever I feel like. because that's what I always used to do. I would just make whatever I felt like. And I feel like my videos are best when I'm doing that. So I'm going to go back to that and not try to have so much rigid plans because then, you know what happens? You get writer's block on Silent Hill 2 video, and then the whole week goes by, and you're still staring at a timeline with nothing good on it. And yeah, so I feel better doing it that way. So let's keep doing it that way and see what happens. Grocery shit still sucks. But we have been trying to spend a lot less money this past year. It's still hard to catch up because, again, like, interest rates on credit cards suck ass. But it's like you got to throw it all on there. It's like you have to eat. You got to eat. Like, it sucks. I have credit card debt just from fucking buying groceries, man. It's actually ridiculous. But there's like we did a lot of things to cut back our bills this past year, which definitely did help a lot. Like, we canceled all of our subscriptions, like PlayStation, Nintendo Switch Online. Like, we weren't using it. Cancel all that. Netflix, all Disney, every subscription we had, cancel all of it. It's like, all right, we're not watching that. Like, whatever. And a big thing is trying to rely on chain grocery stores less and less. Like, we have Superstore here, and that is the absolute most convenient. It sucks when that's the best option because $100 at like a Loblaw-owned grocery chain gets you freaking nothing. So we go to, there's a local meat market we go to, and you get so much. They kind of have like leftovers. It's like, you know, there's like the bid, and like the grocery stores get all the stuff and like leftover stuff they don't want to put on the shelf. The bid goes down, and then it's so you don't always get what you want every time there. You kind of have to show up, and it's like whatever they have. But it's like all so affordable that you don't care. It's like, oh, look at these microwavable TV dinners. Like, sure, let's throw 3 of those in the cart. Oh my god, all this beef. Throw 3 of those in the cart. Holy crap, that was all $80? Wow. So that's really how you save on groceries. You got to find local markets. That we also found there's a new local Asian market, and so there's like import snacks from like Taiwan and Japan and all sorts of different places, and they're pricey. But you go all the way back to the produce, and the pears and bean sprouts and the mushrooms are so cheap. We couldn't believe how many bean sprouts we got. So I think that's something that has been very, like, I don't know, empowering, is kind of giving the finger. I'm saying that without when we're scared to give the finger. Giving the finger to the big guys, and going out of our way to go all the way across town and get some good ass stuff for an affordable price. So that's something else we've been doing, but it sucks that much isn't like quite enough. I do need a good income year to catch up. So that's what this is going to be. Talking about money stuff, Patreon? Do I plug the Patreon here? Hey, if you want to help support the channel and make my life a little easier and make me stress about groceries a little bit less, I have a $1 podcast over on Patreon where me and my friends, we just shoot the shit for 2 hours. Well, the first hour is just us talking about whatever we played. Usually I talk about the Nitro Rad video I might have made that past month. And then we take questions from our viewers. So if you ever want to like ask me questions and see my thoughts on, I don't know, whatever you want to hear, me and Brady and our other friend Sam, she's taking a break from the podcast for a little bit, but she'll be back soon. And me and Brady just take questions from the audience and we answer them. We pick 10 questions every podcast, and I always try to make sure the people who have never asked a question before, I keep them all recorded, like each month, the questions we took, and I'll like scroll through. I'm like, who hasn't asked a question this time? And I try my best to rotate out fresh faces. But yeah, for $1 a month, you get my podcast. I know most podcasts are free, but it's like, I don't want a Patreon that just has nothing you get back. And I feel like a monthly podcast, you know, it's something, I guess. So if you want to support the channel, $1, you get my podcast. And people always ask me, like, is there other ways to support the channel? Can I give you money through this and that? And it's like, I don't want to start opening like tons of channels to do that, because at a point I just stopped feeling good about it. I hardly felt good about opening the Patreon as it was. I only did it because so many people kept asking me. But yeah, that's there if you care. We just did episode 89. We've actually been doing this podcast for a number of years now. Pretty wild. I hope it's gotten better. I used to talk over Brady a lot. I used to interrupt him a lot. When you edit your own podcast, you see that, it's like, oh man, I'm awful. Well, I hope I try to get a little better. But I think that's everything. Yeah, I basically got across what I'm doing, how I'm doing, what I'm gonna do, and yeah, what I did. A little bit of the feelings, a little bit of the finances, a little bit of well-rounded. Well, it's a well-rounded update video. 10 out of... I'm not making that joke. Giving things a rating, as people have been saying at the end of sentences for 50 years. I don't care to do that to mine. You know that episode of SpongeBob where they learned swear words, and Patrick is like, oh, that's a sentence enhancer. Put it in the middle of a sentence makes it better. My uncle does it. That's what people think, like, sticking the 10 out of 10 would play again at the end of a sentence. It's like, what is it, a sentence enhancer? I don't know, just making the same joke over and over. I'm just an angry old man yelling in a cloud at this point, and people having fun. It pisses me off, so I gotta act like it sucks. Just because people having fun pisses you off doesn't mean it sucks. I see people having fun, I'm like, I'm pissed off. I ain't gonna tell them that because they're having fun. Fuck me, right? Like, yeah, I really can't think of anything else I want to bring up. So I guess we'll just conclude this video already. Yeah, screw it. Let's get some videos of my little kitty cats going. Many of you, I'm sure, know Blinks at this point. He's been in a bunch of videos, yes, named after the Xbox cat. He's rambunctious and full of energy, and he's a little overweight, but he's very active despite that. He's got the cutest face I've ever seen in my life, dude. Look at him here, just laying in my lap. Look at me. He licks you like a dog, and sometimes he likes to... It's not like biting me. He just kind of puts his teeth on me, like... But he doesn't ever bite me. And literally no matter what, whenever you touch him, he's literally the fluffiest animal you've ever felt because he is ridiculously good at keeping himself clean. He's a very hygienic animal. Again, he'll just be sitting in my lap, and he'll just randomly start cleaning himself. And he cleans the other two cats a lot, too. Sometimes it's fake though, sometimes it's a stealth attack. Like he'll climb on Hornet and he'll be licking her and then he goes for the kill. It's like, what are you doing? Quit, what are you doing with the cheap shots? She just tolerates him. She doesn't even do anything. He's lucky that she really loves him because otherwise she'd be kicking his ass. And of course the one time I filmed them doing it is one of the few times she's actually like, yo, get off me, dummy. And he loves being pet. When you approach him, he will just flop over and he's just like, hey buddy, here's my big tummy, give me some tummy pets. Give me some tummy pets. I can't believe this animal is real, and he brightens my day every goddamn day, dude. He's a goof nut. Hornet here is just the sweetest little cat ever. She loves her cheeky rubs so much. When she comes running over for them, you'll see like her primordial pouch flapping back and forth. For those that don't know, that's like the pouch the kittens would be in if she were to have kittens. But she ain't never having kittens, so we don't have to worry about that. She loves being in my office. She's the one that's usually hanging out with me when I'm editing videos. There's always usually another chair in here, and she'll just sit in it. She'll climb up on top of the chair. As you can see, that's covered in claw marks. Luckily, it's an old chair we don't care about. But she loves climbing all over it. She's a big fluffy raccoon, and oh, she loves the office so much she'll want to sleep in here sometimes, but I often close it for the night because there's things in here I don't want the cat to knock over and break. But she'll just start like wailing and screaming in the middle of the night, wake me up, and I'm like, what's wrong? And then she's just standing by the office door like, hello, well, let me in please. It's like, no, you're not going in there. I think the funniest thing about her though is that she's terrified of the toaster. I was holding her in my arms in the kitchen one time, and then the toaster popped off, and well, long story short, she doesn't really like being held up to that like height in that room anymore. Oh, poor girl. And I can't believe how adorable her face is when she looks up at you. Funny girl. I'm trying to record. I'm trying to record. What are you doing? What are you doing between me and the pop filter? What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, little Mr. Pickle over here is a very chirpy little man. He's very snuggle dependent. He's a snuggle beast, and when he doesn't get his snuggles, oh, you better believe he's down the hallway going, making all these sorts of noises. I mean, you got the pleasant noises. Sometimes he's like banshee. Other times he's just a lazy one, sleeping, laying on my clothes. He's very sweet, and I love him. He's always trying to get out in the hallway. Like, I know our neighbors have a cat that gets out sometimes, and they definitely rub up against this. I like to call this, he's trying to get out to write to his pen pal, because this is the exact same way he acts when he goes to the vet. And I know he's reacting that way because he smells the scent of so many other cats. And it's also similar to the way he reacted when we first brought home Hornet and then Blinks. It's like he knows there's another cat, and he's got to go and find the scent, and that's his way of leaving his scent there for the other cat to smell. And it's like, bud, I know you want to do this really bad, but please get back in here. And of the three, he loves catnip the most. Here's a little catnip toy he got for Christmas, and he found it so quickly when we brought it home, and he just starts tumbling around, just grabbing onto it and biting into it. One last clip, because Blink started doing this recently. I bought some like dollar store Nerf gun, and when I fire it, he runs and grabs the dart. He loves this thing. Like, if I cock it, he hears it go, and then he just comes running. He's like, oh, I gotta go chase the thing. Check it out. Gopher. He's sitting on that rock right there. This is a big-ass gopher. That was awesome. You ever walk through a park and you see this big-ass animal? It's like, whoa. I don't see one of those very often.